Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga Texas construction update video.
Well, welcome back out to Giga Texas. It is Wednesday, the 21st of February 2024. Started off a little bit misty. We do have low clouds, but otherwise it was not bad to fly today. Now, a couple of things that I want to talk about in the intro before we get started. First of all, this part of Texas is sort of the heart of Texas, but also is the heart of truck country, and trucks are extremely popular here in Texas. So what better way to introduce people to the varieties of electric trucks than to have a electric truck rodeo down in San Antonio this coming Saturday. And as you can see by this flyer, they're going to have a variety of different makes and different kinds of electric cars and trucks, including the Cybertruck. So I'm going to try to get down there and take a look at it, but this is a really great opportunity for people here in truck country to get an idea of what is available and maybe have them answer some questions that they might have. So I'm looking forward to that event. Now here at Giga Texas, a couple of things that we'll notice here on the flight today that I want to point out. First, on the west side, that supercharger station that has 64 of them installed right now is getting the asphalt around where all of the superchargers have been installed. So that's a great sign that most of the electrical connections are nearly completed. There is some additional trenching around that area, but this is really starting to look like a finished product. And of course, the canopy will be put on top of that soon. A little bit farther south from there, the boring company is getting ready to start the tunneling operations, and we see that they are cutting off some of the lugs around the Proof Rock 3, and this is one of the last steps that they need to do to be able to start the drilling. These these lugs that are put around are used to maneuver the Proof Rock, but they're not needed when they are doing the tunneling operation. So another great sign. And the last area I want to just highlight here in the intro before we get into the drone flight is on the northeast corner of casting. We see where they've done that widened apron. They use that laser screed to apply a lot of the concrete on that northeast side. And now they're working on the east side, putting in more forms, rebar, and getting that laser screed set up for more concrete. And now we know why that they are doing that. They've used this area that has just been poured for some of the casting rack mounts and casting. So it looks like this area here is going to be used for that casting for the Cybertrucks and also for the Model Ys, and to allow this whole area to be open between this section and the factory for vehicles to transport back and forth materials and have access. And it's very windy here today, by the way. You may see the camera moving around. It didn't present too many challenges with the drone, but I was able to get the whole video done. So without further ado, let's get into the drone. Let's fly around the site and let's see what we can find here at Giga Texas on this Wednesday. Take care and have a great rest of the week.
If you would like to support my efforts, please consider using these links, which will be in the video description. If you are interested in Tesla products, you can help yourself and support me by using my referral code. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons on my YouTube video, as this helps as well. Thank you. My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga Texas. Here at Giga Texas today, we had some mist, low clouds, and some pretty strong winds, but fortunately I was able to fly around and get some really good views of the action that is going on today. We'll start right away at the Boring Company tunnel site, and there are some big developments going on today. First, next to the belt cassette, we can see that A-frame with those large white steel beams that are being installed. That will help connect the belts all the way through the proof rock to the cutting head, and that'll be what will remove the spoils or the dirt when the tunneling is underway. Speaking of which, you can see the worker on top of the proof rock 3 right now, and he's cutting off those eyelets or those ring attachments that are used to lift and position the proof rock 3. Those can't be there during the tunneling, and the fact that they are cutting them out right now shows that they are very close to beginning the actual tunnel operation. Perhaps the next day or two they'll have the full assembly completed and they'll be able to begin. And you can get a good sense here with some of the support infrastructure, the yellow power lines that are connecting over towards the proof rock, and just some of the other items that are being set up. So tunneling should be happening very soon. I'm going to fly up over the West Warehouse on Wheels towards the material staging location. One of the things I do want to show you is that this area now is being used for the transport trucks to wait for their queue time to go over to the outbound lot to pick up the vehicles. And so this is another big change because it used to happen on the east side of Giga Texas. As I maneuver around this part of the material staging, you can see that TKS paint system trailer, all of these white items, the silver items, some of the crated items, and other materials around here are part of yet another modular painting system that will be installed here at Giga Texas. This is similar to what they installed a few years ago on the north end for the paint shop that is operational right now, but this looks like it's going to be installed in the south end. So it'll be something I'll continue to monitor. As we fly up over towards the outbound lot, we can see that it is extremely busy today. There are a lot of Model Ys, a lot of Cybertrucks and trucks picking them up for delivery. There's at least 20 or more Cybertrucks here, and I would estimate probably close to about 400 Model Ys. And as we continue to maneuver around, this gives you a good view of just how much of this outbound lot is being used already. And of course, the end-of-line facility that is still being finished and some of the materials being installed inside. And once this is all completed, then all operations for new vehicles will be on this side of the highway, and that would include the testing, calibration, of course, the supercharging lot. So really a lot of great activity here on the west side. This south end where you see the dirt next to the asphalt is continuing to get prepared for asphalt so they can extend those numbers of the outbound lot slots from B1 through 12. We see more materials, more of the trench work. These kind of trailers, the blue and white trailers, are tanks for basically water that needs to be reclaimed, and they use that because the plumbing system is not fully operational. We also see that the asphalt has been poured around these 64 superchargers. I always have a lot of viewers asking, isn't this a weird arrangement? They are all set up as drive-throughs, and you'll note that the concrete bases to the superchargers are level with the asphalt. So I think the plan is that they'll just drive through to whatever section that they need, and it will help with the throughput. So it's not quite as an odd arrangement as people seem to think, and I think once it's operational, we see vehicles here, it'll be very obvious how that's used. On the east side, more of the rework on the asphalt that was originally poured. They removed that middle section, and it looks like they are preparing now to complete that. I'm not sure if it's going to be asphalt or concrete, but it'll be something that we watch. It's definitely being reworked. The north part of the outbound lot is still getting some of that trenching and prepared for lighting, and then it will be paved, and that'll extend the outbound lot even more. We see the west side of the end-of-line facility. There are some generators that are providing power at the moment. We see some of the HVAC systems and ducting that are being installed. I pull away just fairly quickly just to show you this dirt section with more of that trenching for the lighting system. And again, the curbs are already in place, at least most of them. We see some of the road now being paved between the curbs. We see that walkway that was put in concrete very recently. And on the north end here, we see that the window frames are now being installed. The windows have been delivered, at least some of them on the left, and you can see that next to that white truck. And overall, they're preparing this north end to enclose it with the glass. And I think that's one of the last parts of this new end-of-line facility to be closed off. So great to see that activity. So I'm going to reposition the drone over the highway and we'll resume the narration on that side. First, we'll start on the roof section. We see a lot of workers doing the repair work. You have all the bricks that are holding down some of that weatherproof membrane. They've been working next to this firewall, and they've been pulling the weatherproof membrane tight against that firewall, and it looks like they're preparing to do some additional repair work. You can see that bright white stripe and some of the others. That is where they are reattaching it to the underlying insulation. So roof repairs are underway. This ramp section that has been removed still has that one segment of wall needing to be removed, and then we'll see what they do with it once the rework continues. As we continue to fly towards the south along the west side of the factory, I wanted to get close to the end of line for the Model Ys, and that's where you see them coming out of the factory right now using that ramp. They do have that flexible orange cabling or conduit that's on that big spool next to that other black ramp. So they're doing some sort of electrical work inside that area in addition to making the Model Ys. I did see crews just before this video. I flew over here cleaning that trapezoid again and getting that area cleaned, and it does look like that they may have stained some of the concretes to have a larger trapezoid section. So next time I'll show you that. These are the new receiving doors that they've added in. There were blank panels here before. They're doing the thresholds and the load levelers, and then they will renumber these to make sure that they are all numbered for operational, and that will add another set of receiving doors to this side of General Assembly, which is near where the Cybertrucks are manufactured. Speaking of which, on this temporary lot, we see a number of Cybertrucks still being staged here, another one driving by on the left of the screen. And this, in addition to the west outbound lot, and what we'll see on the eastbound outbound lot, are some of the Cybertrucks that are for the first time over 100 on the site at any given time. So a milestone, and we'll see more of that on the east side. Some of the materials being lifted up onto this temporary platform to the third floor, and that work continues even though they are still doing production of the Cybertruck doors, hoods, and exterior portions of the Cybertruck on that floor. Here we see the perimeter grade beam. All of the footing work next to the original wall looks to be completed now. They are preparing the grade, bringing in some dirt, and that's a great sign, meaning that most of that is now completed and ready for steel assembly soon. Speaking of which, we can see the crane is busy with some of the new steel that has been delivered, some of it on the ground in front of the perimeter grade beam. And as we maneuver here, I'm going to put a highlight here just to show you. Again, this may be a new main entrance or another entrance. You can see the trapezoidal shape and that cutout in the perimeter grade beam does suggest that we're going to see some sort of door and entranceway on this side of the factory. So another thing that I'll continue to monitor as time goes on. We do see more roof and floor decking being applied now to the section that has had the beams recently installed where the crane is. Another large section getting rebar on top of the decking and getting ready for that to be poured with concrete, which is extended now well towards the west. And then here we see the black painted columns and also the mounts for the glass being installed on the perimeter grade beam and along the two beams where the workers are. This is all in preparation for more of the glass. So we're going to start seeing the glass installed on the south end of the building very soon. Speaking of which, deliveries in these wooden crates of more of that CDAC glass, and a good look at this southeast corner with the glass mostly installed along this particular side of the factory. So I'll bring the drone up over the roof section. I want to reposition it and look down into this gap between the original building and the extension. Show you the work that is going on here with the footings. Now they had to do some rework of the CFA piles and the piered piles in those two sections. There was some damage to them, so that looks to be completed, and now they are framing in the footings for that area. Good look between the building and the new extension along this side. Soon we should start seeing steel filling in that gap. And another good look here at the extension on the left. Those 4 steel tanks still getting some assembly and welding work, and those lids are on the ground waiting for their time to be installed so that those would be sealed up. And again, the final purpose of those tanks is still somewhat of a mystery. The size and the volume is way more than what we've seen in other tanks here at Giga Texas. As we get closer to the multi-level parking garage, we can see that it continues to grow towards the east. It may be one section away from having the full extent to the east, at least on this side of the building. We also see trenching some of the blue water pipe. Along this side, we see a part of the steel corrugated pipe sticking up out of the ground. That's part of the water management system. And of course, more conduit being done next to that northwest corner where we see the stairs and the elevator shafts. Some more of the roof has had the concrete poured, and crews are putting more of that rebar mesh around for the next concrete pour. And this is a good view just showing how it continues to be built towards the east. And again, at least 1, maybe 2 more sections of the structure to proceed in this direction, and then they'll fill it out in like a large square. We do see the intersection on the left where eventually River Road and the road that we see at the bottom of the screen, which will be the extension of Robotic Avenue, will meet. And another good look at the materials here waiting for their turn to be installed. Also, in the bottom right, you can see where the new road extends over and connects to where Robotic Avenue is, and then how that's going to be all one contiguous road once that is completed. I do want to show you that the old temporary outbound lot has now not only had all of the resurfacing and the painting, but it is being used by employees for parking, which is what its original intention was for. So I know that that helps a lot with the parking issues that they have here right now. As we get to the testing and calibration lot, we see the wind tunnel with a Cybertruck on the bottom right. We fly over the helicopter pad, and we see today over 70 Cybertrucks in this particular lot alone. And as I mentioned earlier, the combined number of Cybertrucks in the west outbound lot, that southwest temporary staging location, and in this lot, some of which are over supercharging in the bulk here in the middle of the screen, we have for the first time over 100 Cybertrucks visible, more of them driving out of the factory along the way as well. But this is a big milestone for Cybertruck production here at Giga Texas. So as we come to the east side of the building, I want to show you some of the developments. First, note all of the castings that are being stockpiled here along this side of the building. And some of that is in this apron area that still is removed from those receiving doors. They're using that for storage. Some of the rack mounts next to those towers. And of course, more of them on the ground next to the wall of the building. We also see the work going on here with the widened berm. Crews are getting ready to add more of the rebar. They've got some of the forms already in place. And we also see where the crews next to the wall are removing large sections of concrete. And we'll see later on in the video where that concrete is going for temporary storage and then recycling. But they are definitely doing a lot of rework on that concrete section next to the wall. We see more of the racks for the castings and more of the castings on the ground, and a really good look at the widened berm. The large laser screed is being placed, and that will apply all of the concrete, very similar to what we saw in the top middle of the screen where those casting racks are now placed and that new concrete apron. We also see the smaller laser screed on the right. Now, I was kind of curious why they were using the laser screed for this particular part of the concrete since they didn't use it for the rest. And I think the reason why now is clear, is that that entire area is going to be used for the rack mounts for the castings, and that'll be both the Model Y and Cybertrucks. And this will give it a chance to have a nice organized location away from the building to restore access for vehicles to be able to transit to and from their destinations along the side of the building. But this is a really good view in of that east side, that laser screed, the rebar, the forms, and that entire apron that is getting ready to be poured in concrete. And of course, all of the materials that are still being stockpiled for the furnaces and other equipment that's being installed into the casting machine structure. As I pan the drone back towards the west along the north end, we see once again next to these two temporary platforms in front of the paint shop, a lot more of the Cybertruck castings, both front and rear. And this, combined with the number of finished Cybertrucks, is a great indication that the production ramp is definitely increasing here. Not sure exactly what the number is, but it is definitely going up. The 4680 production cell portion of the factory that is getting reworked and expanded for lines 4 through 8 is coming along. We see deliveries of some more, it looks like ducting, and also we saw some more of the drywall being delivered earlier today. And those industrial elevators are in operation as well next to each of the two platforms. As I maneuver the drone around on top of the roof over the 4680 production cell section, I'm going to fly over this parking lot towards the north, and let's take a look at the activity at the Megapack site and the temporary electrical switch yard. As I mentioned previously, the Megapacks are now fully operational. They are connected to the grid and the factory, and all of the various disconnects and connections have been made. So this is now operational. As we fly up over the power lines, I want to show you the old temporary electrical switch yard and its current state of disassembly. All of the perimeter fence has been removed. We can see the fence posts with their concrete bases arranged on the graded area. We see crews removing the last of the electronic components that were part of the temporary electrical switch yard. About all that is left now are those 3 control trailers and that steel pole. And as I continue to maneuver the drone around here, you can get a good sense of just how little is remaining. Got that one transformer, that large one in the middle of the screen. That's about the last of the big pieces that need to be moved. And it looks like the crane is moving another section of the equipment here. I'll zoom in so you get a good view of what that looks like. And once this is done, and it looks like probably by the end of the day, then the rest will be just demolishing whatever footings and other trenches that had cables and preparing this site to be returned back to just a flat graded area. And it's really neat to be able to see the new switch yard behind it, and that is what is now taking over the load of powering Giga Texas. So as we fly towards the battery cathode plant and the die shop, I'm going to take this opportunity to show you the work that is going on to increase the length of Tesla Road and extend it through this intersection towards these facilities and further to the east. You see excavation work on the right, and that's to allow for Tesla Road to be extended with 2 lanes to the east, 2 lanes to the west, and probably a median. And this gives you a good view looking off towards the Colorado River, how this new Tesla Road will look once it is completed. Now, as I reposition the drone here, looking towards the alleyway, we see another large section has had asphalt poured between the 2 trees, and this will connect into that new Tesla Road and be one of the access points between here and the 2 buildings, between which we are taking a look at the alleyway here. Of course, with all the concrete poured, it's a great place to park a lot of their vehicles and equipment because it helps reduce the amount of mud. And we do see these concrete trucks helping to pour in more of the concrete in this last remaining section next to the tanks and vaporizers. And this is all on top of the underground stormwater management pipe, and it extends all the way up to the north along this side of the building. We do see a lot of activity on the roof of the chiller plant today, and it is operational, but it looks like they are doing final assembly, maybe some new equipment being installed to bring that fully up to operation. I'm going to take this opportunity and fly a 360 degree around here to give you a good view of the west side, how it is looking next to the Martin Marietta batch plant, and also the west side of the die shop as they are preparing the grade here again, probably to help mitigate a lot of water that stands here, but also hopefully we'll see some asphalt poured there soon. And a good view here of the entire middle section of the west side and all of the asphalt section next to the building and through this middle section that have been completed. As we fly up more towards the north, this gives you a good view of this corner of the cathode plant, the receiving docks, all of that new concrete apron, the lift station in the bottom middle of the screen, and it still has a generator, so it's waiting for electrical power to be installed for permanent power, but right now that generator is helping to let that be operational right now. And of course, as we fly up to the northeast, I'll reveal some more of the site. Now, here's an interesting thing I want to point out. All of these concrete segments are from that east side of the casting machine section where we saw the concrete being removed. Now let's fly along the east side, just over the cell testing lab on the bottom left, the wade pit with some water, but again, that's just from rain. And we also see the expansion of the asphalt next to the east side of the battery cathode plant itself. And it looks like there's some concrete being poured in that middle asphalt section. The crash test facility on the left has still having the work done on the south side for this pretty deep and possibly a bath type of construction. We saw the slab being poured. Now they have the reinforced vertical structures. They're putting in the formwork for concrete. And I call it a bath because a lot of viewers think that this may be a water tank that's used after crash testing in case there may be a fire or some other problem with the vehicle. I don't know if that is true, but that seems to be the prevailing view right now by most of my viewers. So we see a lot of work on that to finish that structure. There's a good view of the east side from this perspective, looking over that temporary kitchen on the right, which is helping to provide some of the meals for the employees. So as I bring the drone up to a higher altitude, I will turn it back towards the main factory and just give you a good view of the entire east side, that east warehouse and wheels, the overflow lot, of course the main factory, and all of the other sites that we saw along the way here today. As always, thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it, and I hope you have a great rest of the week. Take care.